everybody, hey guys, who's there today? Welcome back to another episode of Halloween at the Manor. I think you guys are going to like this one. This is going to be a fun one. If you're like us and you have a lot of these lying around, you can actually turn one of these into this. This is a milk jug skull, and it's really easy to do. All you need is one of these milk, water, whatever, plastic jugs, a skull. Now this one is a resin skull. You can use plastic skulls that you get from like Walmart or Home Depot, wherever. You just have to be a little bit careful when you use those. And basically what you do is, and I'll show you how we do it, you're going to cut this out, put this over the skull, and with a heat gun, we're going to mold this jug over the skull. And it comes out really, really cool. This is my, I'll call it second attempt at doing this. My first one ended up ripping on me as I was trying to take it off. But this one is done, and I painted it the way I wanted to. I didn't get as much definition as I would like to, but I'm going to try to do that while we do this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this, and then I did tape me painting this one. Now, you can paint these however you like. You can paint it like a normal skull. You could get funky with it and paint it different colors, however you want. But this is how I painted mine. We actually have already have some plans for Halloween 2022, and these skulls may actually come in handy for that. I don't want to reveal too much of our plans because we really don't have it all nailed down yet. But we were talking about putting throughout the yard cloaked figures. So what we were thinking of is if we can get, I think I have about 10 of these jugs upstairs. If we can get about 10 of these skulls, these could be the heads on the cloaked figures. So we really don't care too much about what the back looks like. We really only care predominantly what the face looks like. So when we put these on our props outside and they're cloaked, all you're really going to see is the face. So why don't we go ahead and we'll take our materials upstairs, and we're going to go to the kitchen here, and we'll show you guys how to do this. And hopefully if you guys like it, you'll try it for yourself, and you guys will have some really cool props. So let's go. All right, guys. So the very first thing that we want to do is we want to remove the back handle here on the milk carton. So what we're going to do is, using an X-Acto knife, we're just going to cut through this thing here. So that we have this shape. Once we have this shape, the next thing I'm going to do is, and this just makes it easier to get it onto the skeleton, I'm just going to cut a line right down the back here. And this does not have to be perfect. So we're going to do this, and this is going to make it so that it goes easier on the skeleton. You may have to cut here and here as well. I guess it depends on what skeleton that you're using. I'm gonna leave this as is and try to put this onto the skull right now. So all you have to do is just kind of get this over the skull. Get him in there. And there is how we are going to start. Here is all that you need to do this project. You need water in a plastic container or something. You need just a normal kitchen sponge, nothing spectacular, and just a regular heat gun. Now, I don't know if I recommend doing this in the kitchen or not. The reason why I'm doing it is because I'm a wuss and it's cold outside and I don't really feel like being in the garage. But anyway, to start this, now, this is how I started this one. The one that I showed you. I started from the bottom down. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna turn the heat gun on, and we're gonna let the heat gun heat up. And what we do is we're gonna do this in sections. So you'll notice here how the milk carton is a milky white, has a milky white look to it. When you put the heat gun on this, when it starts to get clear, when it gets clear, then you want to start putting the sponge on it. So now it's starting to get clear, as you can see. So we're going to turn the heat gun off, wet our sponge, wring it out, and we are going to press down on this. What we're going to do is we're going to try to mold this around the bottom of the skull here so that it won't move on us as we go forward. So what we're going to do is we're just going to work section by section. So we're going to start off here, and this doesn't have to be tight because we really don't need this tight yet. So again, we're just going to heat this up till it turns clear like it is. Turn the heat gun off, wet the sponge, wring it out, and press it down. And when we put the water on it, the water cools down the plastic and makes it hard again. It's almost like if somebody would be making like a sword or something using steel. So as you can see, we're starting to get this to mold to our skeleton, our skull, I'm sorry. And we just keep doing this over the entire skull. Now, when we get to the face part here, that's where you really want to pay the most attention to. We don't really care too much about the back of the skull because you're not really going to see that, at least for our purposes. You're really going to want to focus on the face. So the eyes, the nose, and the teeth and things like that. All right, so we're starting to get this molded on. Now what we can do is we can turn this over, and on this skull that I did here, my first one, I really didn't get a lot of definition on the bottom teeth. So when I'm doing this one, I'm gonna try to focus on that specifically so that I can try to get this to look a little bit better and more definition than I did on my first one. So let's heat the bottom up here. And don't put this thing directly onto the, definitely do not put this directly onto and it looks like this time around we're getting some better definition, as you can see. So let's keep going here. You really want to press this in so you can get the optimal definition that you can get. And as you can see here, we're starting to get some really nice definition. And that's basically what we want to do here. We just want to work our way around the skull here. All right, guys, so I got this one out of the mold, and that I think is probably the most difficult part. And if you have to put more of a cut up the back, that's okay. It does take some prying to get this thing out. So this is what I got for the one we just did. Now, is it perfect? No, but it does have a nice shape to it. You can play with this as much as you want. Like I said, I didn't do much to the back, if anything, because if we do use these for our props outside, like I mentioned, we don't care about the back. We're only going to care about the front. So this is what I got. And like I said, you can, if you really want to spend the time to try to get the skull smoother, that is completely up to you. Another thing that you can do with these, if you want to, completely up to you, is if you saw some of my videos in the past, you know that I like to use the spray foam, the Loctite spray foam. If you want to put some Loctite in here, spray foam, to make this thing a little bit more harder and more solid, you can do that as well. Completely up to you. So now that we have our mold here, we can go ahead and paint it. And what I'll do is I'll show you what I did to paint this one here. I'll show you what I did to paint this one here. So why don't we go and take a look at that. I decided to start spray painting this with a nutmeg brown color to use as the base. I let that dry overnight. Once that dried, I used this apple barrel white paint that you can get at Walmart, and I dry brushed this color on over the brown. Basically just trying to bring out as much of the texture as possible. Now, as far as the base of this, like I said, I use brown. You could pretty much use whatever you want. I think the next time I try these, I might use black as the base, or maybe even gray, and then dry brush the white on. But overall, this white paint did bring out the texture. You could also use an ivory as well. The next thing I did was using this black paint from the same company, Apple Barrel, and again, you get this at Walmart. I decided to put this on the eyes, nose, and a little bit around the teeth area. I was just trying to get those areas to pop a little bit more. However, I didn't want them to be like pure black. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going back over those areas with the white paint, just kind of dulling the eyes and the nose down a little bit. I also took this black paint and put it under the, like around the jaw area, underneath the jawbone, and also around like the temple area, to try to make those a little bit more darker than the rest of the skull. And I think that ended up turning out a lot better than I expected. I did dry brush on some black around here, and I probably put it too heavy on some areas, but it gets a nice texture here. I know a human skull is more flat, but like I said, I don't really care too much about like back here, because if we do decide to use these for our props for this year, all you're going to see is the face. And even the face is going to be kind of cloaked. I did put some Gorilla Tape in there to kind of keep the skull together from where I put the slit up the back. Yeah, overall, I think this thing came out pretty cool. Like I said, it's not perfect by any stretch, but you know, for a milk jug that was just laying around doing nothing, it turned into something cool. I definitely can see, definitely use it for something. You probably could put even like some lights in this thing, and because this is just a milk carton, and the plastic really isn't that thick as you can see, I bet this thing would have like a really cool glow if you put like a votive or something like that inside of it. I think that would be really cool too. But anyway, that's my first try. I'd say give it a shot. I mean, this would definitely be something cool to do with the kids. You know, of course, just be careful with the heat gun. But overall, like I said, I think this came out pretty cool. I definitely am going to try a couple more to see if I can get better. But for my first, actually my second attempt, my first attempt kind of ripped. But for my 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 first, second attempt. I think this thing came out pretty cool. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and definitely give this one a shot. I think it's going to be a fun project. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and take care. Bye. Bye.